Dear friends, welcome back to Automate with Rakesh. In this video, we are going to cover our very first topic around the computer vision. You have seen my previous video where I have captured all the exam topics and the very first topic, which is advanced UI automation. In that, we have something called use AI computer vision features in projects. This is the first topic that we are going to start for the new exam preparation. This is for the advanced exam preparation. Now, let's get started and see one of the questions that is there on the UiPath practice test for the advanced exam. Okay, this is for the UiPath Automation Developer Professional exam. Okay, this is a practice test. Now, one of the question, let us read this. What is the purpose of the CV screen scope activity in UiPath? So it is asking what is the purpose of this activity. And there are also few more questions which I'm going to show you. Now, first thing, before we try to attempt the question and get an answer, I'm going to show you one of this page. This link I have kept in the advanced UI automation. Whatever the important links that you have to use to prepare for the exam, I have kept it in this particular sheet and you can pretty well utilize it. So this is the link. So once you open it or simply type computer vision in Google, you will get this page. Okay. Now in this one, I have highlighted few important points which are important for the exam. Now let me go through them and I'm also going to show you how to practically use them. So you will have a practical session. You will also have a theoretical portion what are important for the exam. So why delay? Let's get started. Now the very first thing, let's look at this. Due to the fact that computer vision activities have moved to the UI automation package in 2019.10. This is the version where what happened previously when we initially started, there used to be a computer vision activity. Activities were part of its own specific package. But since 2019 package, they have added into this one. Do you see UiPath.UI automation.activities? So it has become integral part of this particular package. So that is the meaning. So they are saying installing the UI automation v19.10.1 package in a project that already contains version of computer vision from the older package, right, throws an error. So they are saying if you had used in the past the computer vision activity, that will not work with the recent ones. Okay, that is one, but that is not very important for the exam point of view, but for your knowledge. Now the next thing, the computer vision activities are not compatible with Windows 7. Okay, this is also another point to know. Now, what are the important points for the exam? Here I have made, highlighted them. I have told you in my UiPath advanced certification playlist, right? In the strategy, I have told you I'm using an extension to highlight like this. So I'm going to show you that extension name. So the extension is this one. Okay, super simple highlighter. So in case you have already, if you're a new member, so kindly install this extension or any other extension of your choice, just which would help you to highlight some of the exam points. Okay, so now let's read this. Here the main difference between, so how do you highlight? I'm going to show you. You first click on this. Okay, sorry, let's say I want to highlight this particular element. So right click and select this and mark it whatever color you want. Okay, so you can see it got marked. Getting it? So this is how you'll be marking. In case you would like to remove something, you just cut that particular part, it will go. So for this one, if you select also like this, you can remove. So this is the part, bit of functionality of how to use it. Okay, now let us focus on the points. The main difference between the computer vision activities and their classic counterparts is their usage of computer vision neural network. So what they are saying, the computer vision activities contain refactored means improved fundamental UI automation activities such as click, type into, get text. Now you go to UiPath Studio and go to the activities panel, and here in the activity panel simply type, let me slightly increase the font. Okay, so here you simply type CV or computer vision and you see there are around 10 activities at present. In the future, if you're watching in the future, currently I'm using 2023.4.5, the community edition. Now, if you're using any other version, doesn't matter. Most of the concepts would remain same. The concepts are same, so don't worry. Whatever your studio versions are, doesn't matter. You just have to focus on the concepts. Now, if you see here, I have got multiple activities of computer vision. CV check, CV click, like that. There are so many activities. Now, what it is saying, the classic activity that we have, right? Click, type into, get text. They are dependent on selectors. While the similar activities are also present in the UiPath Studio as computer vision click, computer vision type into. The normal type into also there, right? You know it. So if I'm going to type click, these are the normal ones. Now this click activity utilizes selectors, while the computer vision activities usage utilizes something called neural network. That is the difference. So let me read the point once again. The computer vision activities contain refactored or improved fundamental UI automation activities such as click, type into, get text. The main difference between the computer vision activities and their classic counterparts is their usage of computer vision neural network. That means the any activity where you find CV, CV click, CV type into, CV get text, they use computer vision neural network. Very important point, make a note. Developed in-house by our machine learning department. Clear? This point is very important. The neural network is able to identify the UI elements such as buttons, text inputs, fields, checkboxes without the use of selectors. That means any activity which has a CV, when you see CV around the activity, that means they are computer vision activities. And they do not use selectors, they use the neural network, computer vision neural network. Clear? All right. Created mainly for automation in virtual desktop environments such as Citrix machines. So this is used in the Citrix machines or the virtual desktop environments. I'm going to show you a practical demo of this, okay? These activities bypass the issue of why these activities are created. First of all, when you're working on a virtual environment or a Citrix environment or a RDP, remote desktop protocol, right? If you are trying to automate a application which is running inside a virtual desktop, then you will have non-existent or unreliable selectors. So when you are trying to automate using the normal click or type into activity, it doesn't get the proper selectors. So non-existent, that means the selectors are not available or they're unreliable. That is why we are using computer vision. Then how the computer vision works? So computer vision without the use of selectors. So it doesn't use selectors. So how does it work? It works by sending images of the window you are automating to the neural network. It sends the image. Remember that it sends images of the window or the application you are trying to automate to the neural network, where it is analyzed and all the UI elements are identified and labeled according to what they are. Getting it? Now let's see a demo of this so that it will be clear. First thing, you type CV. As per the documentation, the very first thing that you have to do is you have to drag and drop the CV screen scope. Now, to help you, this is the application. I'm going to provide the link of this application, AnyTailor application, and there are a couple of other applications. You can download it from them so that you can practice. In the description of the video, I've given it. So please do get them. Now, this application requires .NET framework. In case you're getting something like it is downloading the .NET framework, please allow it. That is where this application will function. Okay, that has happened to me while downloading from my location. So these are all UiPath built applications. This is not, these are all UiPath provided. They're also available in UiPath Academy. If you have it, really good, or else use my link to download it. Once you have it, click on indicate on screen and I'm going to indicate the application. Now you see the moment I'm indicating, it is selecting a specific portion or the entire portion of the application. Now let's say I want to only need this, I can do that. So this way also it will work. It is going to analyze. So what happened now? It has sent the image of that to the neural network, and after that it analyzed and found this many elements are present inside your application. Okay, let me redo it again. Let's say I'm going to click on this button and click on indicate on scope. Let's say I'm going to select the entire application. So what will happen? It will take the image of the application from my computer it will send it to the neural network of UiPath and then gets a response back. And here you see this is the output. It tells you in your application these many UI elements are present. Do you see? All are highlighted. That is the meaning. And in case you would like to only select a specific portion of the application, this is very important. See, like this you can do it. You are selecting an area. This is called area. Okay, this is called area. So that way also you can select a specific area and you can see it has detected the elements. So you have understood this much part, right? Now let me read the documentation. Very, very important. Some of the points that I've highlighted: non-existent or unreliable selectors. That helps to identify the non-existent or unreliable selector by sending images of the window to the neural network. Okay, important points. Let's move on to the next page. Here I am going to show you. All the computer vision activities function only when inside a CV screen scope activity. For all the computer vision activities like click, then you have type into all this, right? All of this will function only when they are dragged and dropped inside the CV screen scope activity. Remember, very important point. CV screen scope. Scope means a container. Okay. This will only function if it is inside this. Outside this, it won't work. Very important point. All the computer vision activities function only when inside a CV screen scope activity, which establishes the actual connection to the neural network server. Very important point. This question also will come in the practice test. So establishes the actual connection to the neural network server. Clear? Thus enabling you to analyze the UI of the application you want to automate. Very important points. Any workflow using the computer vision activities must begin dragging the CV screen scope activity. This is your first step. First, you have to drag the CV screen scope activity. Okay, point to be noted. Okay. Now, another important point I'll show you. Area section can also be used. You saw me, right? I was trying to drag and drop and select a specific area or the portion of the application, UI of the application you want to automate. This is especially useful. So why are you doing this? See, where there are multiple text fields that have the same label. So let's say the same options are there in multiple parts of the application. Same accounts are there in multiple parts. Caching is there in multiple parts. So it'll not understand which one you are trying to act. So that is where you will be selecting a specific portion of the application. Is it clear? Okay, very important points. Now let us answer this question. So what is the question here? What is the purpose of CV screen scope activity in UiPath? So you have got through the points. Now answer this. To capture screenshot of application UIs and save from the future reference. No, this is wrong. To display real-time UI changes in target application for debugging purpose. No. To create a separate window for interacting with target application during automation. This is also not exactly right. To establish a connection to the neural network. What is the purpose of CV screen scope? We just read. To establish the connection to the neural network server and enable the analysis of UI. This is the right answer. And where do you find in the documentation? Just now we saw here. It which establishes the actual connection to the neural network server. Getting it? This is the answer. Now let me show you the next question. Now look at the question again. This is the different question. Which UiPath activity is used to establish a connection to the neural network for the computer vision activity? So the answer here is CV. It's the same question formed in two different ways. Okay, this is the answer. Now, are you ready to answer some of the questions based on what we have learned now? Okay, so let's get started. For the computer vision, couple of Q&A questions that I have prepared. This is personally built, right? So whatever we have read, just based on that knowledge, I'll be asking few more questions. Let's see how many of you can answer this, and all your answer, please do type it in the comment section. Okay. The first question, when using computer vision activities for automation, what is the primary function of the computer vision neural network? What is its primary function? Identifying selectors, analyzing image files, identifying UI element of the application in a Citrix environment, automating virtual desktops. right? So actually, if you see, all of these options looks pretty similar, right? It does, we are using it for automatic virtual desktops. It analyzes images, but there is a, one of the answer is the best answer. What is the best answer? C, identifying UI elements of the application in a Citrix environment, right? We identify cell, we don't identify cell, so this is a wrong answer. Analyzing image file, do we just use it to analyze image files? No, the main purpose is to identify UI elements of the application in a Citrix environment to automate, definitely. So the best answer you have to select is C. So C is the best answer, rest are wrong. Okay, let's move on to next question. What problem do computer vision activities aim to solve in virtual desktop environment like Citrix machines? Inadequate screen resolution? No. Unreliable selectors? Yes. Non-existent selectors? Yes. Slow network connections? No. B and C. Now tell me which is the right answer. Just, in this video I have shown you at the beginning. Answer is B and C. Okay. Unreliable selectors and non-existent selector. This is the answer. So B and C will be the right answer. Let's see this question. What action must be taken at the beginning of any workflow that involves computer vision activities? What at the beginning, what you do? You capture a screenshot, define selectors for UI elements, drag a computer vision screen scope activity to the designer panel, indicate the area to be automated on the screen. What is the very first step we learned in the documentation? Okay, pause this video and answer this question. So the answer is C. Okay, drag a CV screen scope activity to the designer panel. Now in the comment section, let me know how many of you were able to rightly answer it. Simply put your comment. If you're able to rightly answer it, simply say yes, I was able to rightly answer it. So great guys. So let's move on to our next topic. Let us go through another question from the practice test on the computer vision topic. So let's read the question. How does the screen refresh button function in the computer vision wizard? So it is asking, how does it work? What is the use of screen refresh button? That is the question. So I'm going to read all these options for you, but before that, let us open the documentation. So this link I have provided in the description of the video. Pick it up from there, or else you can simply search UiPath Computer Vision. You will get this page. Now here in the second page of computer vision, I'm going to pass the link, so pick it from that. Now here there is something called screen refresh. If you slightly scroll down, now we will read this documentation completely, but let me first show you the practical, then we will read this, capture the important point, and then answer this question. Okay, all right, so all set, let's get started. Now the very first thing for computer vision practical, the very first activity as documented is you have to drag and drop the CV screen scope activity to your designer panel. This is the very first step. After that, keep your application open which you like to automate, which mostly will be on a Citrix environment, not on your normal computer. You will have a virtual desktop where this application is running, where your selectors will not function. There you would like to automate using the CV screen activities or the computer vision activities. Let us go to UiPath Studio. Here I am going to click on indicate on screen or simply hit on I. Let me hit on indicate on screen. Now I'm going to keep the mouse pointer to the right so that it selects the maximum portion of the application. Now if I do this, you can see the application name is rpachallenge.com. Now what it has done, it has taken the image of that application. Then it has sent to the neural network server of UiPath, which analyzed the image, and then it identified all the different UI elements present inside this application. When I say UI elements, submit button is an UI element. This text boxes are UI elements. This labels, phone number is a UI element. Company name is a label, is a UI element. So it has identified all the UI elements present in the target application. This much we have understood. Let me hit on escape to come out of the image. If you want to see the image, click on it. Come out, escape, done. Now the next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag and drop the CV click activity. Let's say for certain reason there is a change in the application. Let's say today you have automated and tomorrow when you're coming, you see instead of submit button, the name has changed to upload. Now, how can you do it practically? Let me show you. Right click on the page, hit on inspect. And this is going to temporarily stay. It is not going to impact the website. It is just going to stay temporarily until you refresh the button. Okay. For experiment purpose, I think this should be fine. I'm going to type upload. So instead of submit, the button name is going to change to upload. Type it here, click it outside. So it is there under elements. Okay. Now what would happen? The application now changed to upload. Let me go back to the studio. Here I have dragged and dropped the CV click activity. Now when I click on indicate on scope, what it's going to show me, just wait for few seconds. See what it is showing. It is showing me the screenshot which was captured by the CV screen scope activity. So it is showing me this particular screenshot and telling me, okay, from this screenshot you select which element you would like to click. However, I noticed the submit button has now been renamed in the application today to upload. In such a case, there is an option provided by UiPath in the indicate on scope. So when you click on this, there is a window that is going to appear. In this window, I have an option called screen refresh. You can see the screen is still showing me the screenshot taken from the CV screen scope activity with the submit. So I want to refresh the screen. So all you do, hit on screen refresh or hit on F5. Anything is going to work. Let me hit on screen refresh. Now this is the button. Okay, upload button. So you can see this is the new button. So you can see what happened. The screen refresh has been done and it has noticed there's a new change called upload. I'm going to click on this. So what happened? A new screenshot has been taken. Now if you see, initially we had only this, right? Submit button. And the number has changed from one screenshot to two screenshots. Now let me open the second screenshot. So what happened? In the second screenshot, we have the new change now. That means when you apply it on an activity label, it is going to also refresh your CV screen scope. So the CV screen scope now understands, hey, it could be either submit button or the recent one which is taken as upload. That also could be an option. Okay. So if I click on this 2 of 2 and you can see upload has been captured. So the CV screen scope understand the button now has been changed to upload. Now when I'm going to run this, okay, when I'm going to run this, what would happen? It is going to see where is that upload button and going to click on it. Initially, when you, for the very first time when you run it, it might take a bit of time. You can see it has, the button has come here and it should click on upload. That takes a lot of time. All you do, simply run it again just so that you can see the difference. Look at the mouse pointer. See, it has come to the upload button and trying to click on it. Getting it? And one more thing, in this, there is something called descriptor. Okay, in the properties panel, click on the descriptor. In the descriptor also, if you see, the text has changed from submit. Earlier it was submit, changed to upload. It will take the new name. Getting it? So this much is understood. Let's quickly jump onto the documentation and then we will answer this. So what the documentation says, the screen refresh can be done by F5 button. It can be used at design time in case something changes in the target app. This is very important. When you are using in case something changes in the target app. Just now I have shown you practically. Enabling you to send a new picture to the computer vision server to be analyzed again. You got it? Okay, so this is the point. Now let us answer the question. What is the question here? How does the screen refresh button function in the computer vision widget? First option, it updates the UI element of the target app with new positions and properties. This mostly looks like an right answer. Let's read the second one. It restarts the computer vision neural network server in case of errors. No, it doesn't restart the server. Third, it sends a new picture to the computer vision server to be analyzed again if something changes in the target. This is more appropriate, right? It updates the UI element of the target app with new positions and properties. So it was slightly misguiding, but the Third option looks appropriate, right? It sends the new picture to the computer vision server to be analyzed again as per the documentation. Correct? Okay. Fourth one, it refreshes the target app by closing, and no, this doesn't. So this is the right answer. Getting it? So this is the right answer. Now let us face some other alternative questions that is personally prepared by me, which might help you to, when the options are given, so that you don't get confused and always select the right answer. So let's see a couple of questions from my end. So let's see some of the questions around the screen refresh, which I have personally prepared. Now let's see the first question. When is the screen refresh or the hotkey F5 button typically used? Pretty simple question. During runtime, at design time, to create a new variables, to end the automation. Now pause this video, comment your answer. Doesn't matter. Okay, people might go wrong or it might be right. Doesn't matter. Whatever first comes to your mind, type it in the comment section of the video. Okay, so the answer is at design time. Now let me show you the documentation. So here if you see, button can be used at design time while you are designing. Pretty simple, at design time. Okay, at design time. This is the answer. Okay. All right, now let's see the second question. When is it appropriate to use the screen refresh button during the automation development process? So when it is appropriate to restart at the entire automation workflow, to restart the automation workflow? No, wrong answer. When you want to add a new step to the workflow? C, when something changes in the target application's interface? Option D, when you need to configure the computer vision server. Now type your answer. Pause the video, type your answer. Okay, so let me reveal the answer. The correct answer for this is C, when something changes in the target application's interface. Correct? If something changes, that is where we will do it, right? So when you do it, if something changes in the target app. So these words are very important. Something changes in the target app. Clear? Okay. Now let us answer the next question. After performing a screen refresh in UiPath Computer Vision activities and capturing a new image in the CV screen scope activity, what is the next step that occurs in the process? Okay, so once you have done this, so read this question carefully. After performing a screen refresh in UiPath Computer Vision activities and capturing the new image, you have done the new image in the CV screen scope activity. What is the next step that occurs in the process? So the options are, the new image is immediately used to execute the automation workflow. Is it right? Option B, the old image is retained and the new image is discarded. Is it right? C, the current state of the application is added. The current state of the application is added as a new screen to the cached screen list. Is it added? Do we remove the old image or we still just add the new image? Cached means you are adding cached screen list as a new screen to the cached screen list. Option D, the new image is sent to the computer vision neural network for further analysis. Now pause this video, take your time, comment your answer. Okay, comment your answer. So let me reveal the answer. The answer is option number C. The current state of the application is added as a new screen to the cached screen list. So let me show you this. Now, how do you get it? So when you do a screen refresh, if you highlight your mouse, it clearly tells you, if you read the gray rectangle, right, adds the current state of the application as a new screen to the cached screen list. So it will take the current state of the application, whatever the button changes, UI element changes, it will take the screenshot and is going to store that screenshot as a new screen to the cached screen list that we have seen it, right? So when we go back here, you see there are two screenshots. It doesn't remove the old previous one, it just adds, okay, to the cached screen list. So if you see there are two images, okay, in the second image it has kept the upload. Getting it? So the correct answer for that is option C. So thank you guys for watching. Let's move on to our next topic. In this video, we are going to cover another topic around delayed screen refresh. Let me first read the question. How can you use the delayed screen refresh button in the computer vision wizard? That is the very simple question. Now I'm going to show you some of the practicals around this so that you get a better understanding. Next, I'm going to go through the documentation. After all of this, we are going to answer this question. So hope you are ready. Let's get started. Now the very first thing, let's do a bit of practical around this. The very first thing, let us drag and drop the CV screen scope activity. Okay. Now to experiment this, all you do, open RPA challenge website. And I'm going to separate it from all the tabs and keep it individual so that it becomes quite easy. I'll go to UiPath Studio, click on indicate on screen. Okay. And I'm going to keep my mouse pointer on the corner and allow it to take the screenshot or take the image, and is going to process using the neural network server. And you can see after processing, it has detected all the UI elements. So this is fine. Let me hit on escape. The next thing we are going to do is drag and drop a CV click activity. Okay. Now I'm going to click on indicate on scope. Before that, look at this page. This page, if I scroll slightly down, there is something called download Excel. But initially when you launch, when you refresh the page, on my screen, you can see it is slightly hidden. And when I'm pointing out, this UI element, which is download Excel, is hidden, right? If you see this, the download Excel UI element has not been detected. Now, what is this delayed screen refresh? I'm going to show you. I'm going to hit on indicate on scope, and here give it few seconds, this window would come. And in this, there is a element here called delayed screen refresh. What this does, first thing, if you are on your computer, read this particular rectangle box. Let me read it for you. It says, if you use this button after a short delay to get the application into right state, that means it will give you an option to scroll down. Now, if you see, I am not able to scroll down. It is only showing this specific element initially selected by the CV screen scope, right? For example, if I hit on escape, look at this. This is the only image that is selected. And when you use any other activity under the screen scope activity, it is just showing what has been selected in the primary one, okay, in the CV screen. Now let me hit on indicate on scope once again. Wait for few seconds and you can see it has highlighted that specific area. Now I would like to scroll down, but it is not allowing me to do it. Now this delayed screen refresh will allow me to do it. So click on this delayed screen refresh and it tells you auto scrolling runtime support. Okay, so auto scrolling can happen even during runtime. Now I'm designing, this is the design time, but again during runtime also it will automatically scroll and click on it. That is the meaning of this. Let me click on OK and I'm going to scroll. Do you see the moment I'm scrolled, the 3 has started and it is counting. So let me show you again. Okay, so once again, let me do it. So delayed screen refresh. Okay, and I'm going to scroll. You can see the countdown had started and now it is giving me the option. So let me click on this. Okay, so what happened now? This is a new image. So this has become a new image. And if I click on this particular button, and so you can see a new image. Now, if you see how many screenshots are there now in total, 2 screenshots. The first screenshot, this one where we didn't have that button. And if I go to the second screenshot, you can see in the second screenshot, I have the button. So sometimes your application is quite longer. And in the first screenshot, which was taken, might have not detected that element. So this delayed screen helps you to scroll down and pick that element which was not initially detected by the CV screen scope. Getting it? So what happened finally when I did this, the button got selected and also a new screenshot got added in the scope. Getting it? Okay. Now let me also show you a couple of properties. If you highlight this and look at the property, it said number of scrolls. So you have done 2 scrolls, but you know, in your application only 1 scroll is enough. Initially it is like, so 1 scroll is good enough. I don't have to do 2 scrolls, right? Now for that, what you can do, you can come here and always modify these properties. Number of scrolls, I have made it to 1. Okay, if any question comes, the application requires 3 scrolls. Which property of the CV click activity you should change? So you should know number of scrolls. Here you have to put 3. Getting it? Now scroll direction, because it is in the down, then you have to select down. So if any question comes like this in the exam, so you know how to select the properties from here. Okay, and there is also something called delay screenshot. That means you would like to take a screenshot of that, right? If you read it, delay time in milliseconds after executing the scroll and before taking the screenshot. So if you are scrolling that in between 2 milliseconds, I would like to give, after that it should take a screenshot. That is the meaning. So it is, if you want, you can just mention it something like this. Okay, 2000 milliseconds, which is like 2 seconds. Getting it? Now, if I'm going to run this, look at it, what's going to happen. Let me run it. So you should click on the download Excel. Okay. So I'm bringing up some easy websites on which you can probably try to experiment. Okay. Okay, now let me see if it has downloaded. If I go here, you can see challenge.xlx. Okay, just now it got downloaded. So it is working fine. Getting it? So this is what the use of delayed refresh. Let me just refresh the screen. Okay, this is how it was. Let us run it again just to see. Okay, you can see it has scrolled down and then you're supposed to click on the button. It has done the job. If I go back here again on the page, you can see it got downloaded. Getting it? Okay. So it is working fine. Now let us go and read the documentation and get prepared for the exam question. Now delayed screen refresh. The delayed screen refresh button performs a refresh of the target app after waiting for 3 seconds. You just saw that, right? The circle came. It wait for 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. So that is what, okay? Target app after waiting for 3 seconds. Okay, performs a refresh of the target app after waiting for 3 seconds. The runtime auto scroll direction is also captured. You saw, right? The runtime auto scroll, like I went down of the page, it said down. So all these things are auto captured and you have the option to come here and change it. So all these things got auto captured. Scroll down, number 2 initially. So I came here and changed it based on my need. Okay, so this is the important point. The delayed screen refresh hotkey button performs a refresh of the target app after waiting for 3 seconds. So let's highlight this. Waiting for 3 seconds. Remember this, that runtime auto scroll direction is also captured. Okay, this is also important point. Now let us answer the question. So what is the question? How can you use the delayed screen refresh button in the computer vision visual? To delay the execution of the current action until the user manually allows it. No, this is wrong. To synchronize multiple screen refreshes simultaneously with a 3-second delay. Are you doing multiple screen refresh? No, it is only one screen, right? So this is also wrong. To pause the computer vision analysis for specified period of time before resuming. It's not specified, it is always 3 seconds. To perform a refresh of the target app with a 3-second delay. Getting it? This is what target app after waiting for 3 seconds. So the answer is to perform a refresh of the target app with 3 seconds delay. Now I'm going to create few more questions. Let's see how many of you can answer them. So here are few questions on the delayed screen refresh. The very first question. What are the main differences between the screen refresh and delayed screen refresh? See, this is a question. I think you are expecting this question. What is the difference between the screen refresh and the delayed screen refresh in UiPath computer vision activities? Select all that apply. So this is a multiple choice question. Okay. Now read it carefully. Both screen refresh and delayed screen refresh have the same purpose. Do you agree with this statement? B. Screen refresh is used during design time, while delayed screen refresh is used at runtime. So during design time, you are using screen refresh, and delayed screen refresh, what you have used actually in the design time, but it works at runtime, right? Does it scroll during your runtime? Yes. So is it the right answer? Option number C. Delayed screen refresh captures the runtime auto scroll direction. Auto scroll direction, is it going down or up? How are you scrolling? Is it capturing that? Whereas screen refresh does not. Is it the right answer? D. Screen refresh waits for 3 seconds. Does this screen refresh wait for 3 seconds before refreshing? While delayed screen refresh refreshes immediately. Now, the answers are quite clear. What I want, answer me. Comment in the comment section of the video. What are your answers? Even though you go wrong, please do not worry. It is okay because you have a chance to rectify or correct your answers, right? So what is the answer here? So let me reveal the answer. The answers are B, screen refresh. This is one. It does the screen refresh is used during design time, yes. While delayed screen refresh is used, when you use it during the runtime, actually it scrolls down and clicks on the specified button, right? Or whatever you are designing it for. The next is delayed screen refresh captures the runtime. Correct. Runtime auto scroll direction is captured. I showed you in the practicals. Whereas the screen refresh does not. Even this is the right. So B and C are the right answers. Great. Now let's read the next question. What does the delayed screen refresh in UiPath's computer vision activities do? And what additional information is captured during this action? So it is clearly on the delayed refresh. There is no comparison. It is simply saying what it does, right? What is the additional information captured during the action? It instantly refreshes the target app screen and captures the mouse cursor position. Okay, is it the right answer? No. Next, it captures a screenshot of the entire screen and logs the time of the refresh action. Does it do that? C, it waits for 3 seconds before refreshing the target app screen and captures the runtime auto scroll direction. Okay, it waits for 3 seconds before. Is it right? Now, if you look at button performs a refresh of the target app after waiting. This we have read it, right? So our answer is it C? It initiates a full screen recording of the target app actions and identifies changes in the application interface. So what is the right answer? So the right answer is C. It waits for 3 seconds before refreshing the target app screen. Now let me know in the comment section how many of you are correct. If you are correct, simply type I was right. I was able to guess the answers right. So type your comment. I will love to read them. Thank you guys for watching. Let's move on to our next topic. One of the area which I felt could be very important from the exam point of view. That is, what are the differences between UI automation and computer vision? If any kind of any format question comes around this topic, I think this table would help you to quickly select the right answers. So let us go through it. Now this is also available in UiPath Academy Computer Vision, AI Computer Vision. I'm going to show you. There is a topic here um, in this chapter, computer vision versus UI automation activities. Okay. And here there is a nicely it has been described. And I just have jotted down the important bullet points which will help you. So let me first explain what are the differences. Now, first thing, UI automation. UI automation will use selectors. We know that it uses selectors. This is the important point. The keyword is selector. Okay. You can go through the entire point, but you have already know when you do go for a UI automation, that means user interface automation, the selector is used. You select an element, that is the selector. However, in computer vision, uses a machine learning server, the neural network server, and a text OCR detection to identify UI elements such as buttons, text, checkboxes. It captures the visual content of all the elements on the screen, more like a human being. So if you see, I just kept two important points. It uses selectors and it captures the visual content of all the elements on the screen using the technologies. So what are the different technologies used for computer vision? Then you can just remember this couple of points. AI, wherein you have object detection, OCR, optical character recognition, fuzzy text matching, image matching. These are the couple of things that you can remember. Okay, so this is the technology behind the scene. And for you, for the selectors, the technology uses selectors, anchor base, fuzzy selectors, image automation. That is the difference. And here we use AI, OCR, fuzzy text matching, new image matching. So couple of these are the different, the technology is different from both of it. Okay. The next bullet point, let me show you in both the documentation and how I have jotted down. And I would advise all of you to prepare a similar sheet so that you can jot down the bullet points, because having the entire sentence during your preparation, if you have a bullet point, it becomes quite easy to quickly recall. Now next is the second point is scrolling. Now in UI automation, if your web page, right, when you scroll, if it is lengthy, there is a term called infinite scrolling. That means as much time you scroll down, the content is going to load. You have seen certain pages, more you go down, the content will keep on loading, keep on loading, keep on loading, more like your Facebook, right? You go scroll down, keep on loading, keep it will load some of the other thing. So those are known as infinite scrolling, where new content is loaded automatically as the user scrolls down. Now, there is definitely a challenge while we go for a UI automation when there is a scrolling option, right? Infinite scrolling seamlessly. UI automation tools may find it challenging to handle infinite scrolling seamlessly, wherein computer vision provides a runtime auto scroll support. This topic with practical I have shown in the delayed screen refresh, the previous video. Okay. So the important point here to remember, challenging, it has challenges to handle the infinite scrolling, wherein computer vision can easily handle it using the runtime auto scroll feature that is available with delayed screen refresh. Now, if this sentence does not make sense, you must watch my previous video on delayed screen refresh. Okay. Next one, extracts structured table. Let me show you the next difference. UI automation can extract the structured tables and saves it as a data table object that can then be further used in your automation process. Now, sometimes you have seen some of our websites will have multiple different layouts of a table. So there is a table where it has got two columns, and below that there's another combined table. So it will have a varieties of structure. It is not a simple structure which UI automation can deal. Computer vision can deal with variety of structures. So let's read this. Uses computer vision extract table activity. Let me show you. There is something called extract table activity in computer vision. Okay. To recognize and extract tables from documents with varying layout structures and designs. So multiple different formats of table that you could have seen in the websites can be handled using the computer vision. So the point here is uses CV extract table activity to recognize and extract tables with varying layout structures and designs. Got it? Okay, and then technology we have seen. So these are the major four differences, and also very important point you should note, right? Why do you need computer vision? To automate virtual desktop environments like Citrix, VMware, and Windows Remote Desktop, where you have a couple of applications running inside a virtual desktop environment, where direct access to the application UI element is limited. If it is there on your computer, you have opened a virtual desktop interface and there's an application running. That is where you will have challenge to select the UI element using the normal selectors. That is where computer vision has the purpose of giving you that ability to work or automate an application which is currently running inside a virtual desktop. However, you can apply the computer vision on the application directly running on your computer. Okay, however, it is primarily made for areas where your UI elements, your heart, it becomes quite difficult to detect the UI elements of the application. The very important point, make a note, create a sheet like this, okay, so that it helps you during your preparation. Thank you guys for watching. Let's meet once again in our next content. Let us face some of the questions and answers around the topic differences between UI automation and computer vision. So let's get started. Now, the very first question on your screen, how does computer vision handle element recognition and what distinguishes it from traditional UI automation? So what is the difference? How does the computer vision work and how it is different from UI automation? The options are, it relies sol that means completely on selectors for element recognition. Does it computer vision depends on selectors? Option number B, it captures the visual content of all elements on the screen. Does it captures all elements on the screen, eliminating the need for selectors? Okay. It uses AI for element recognition, just like traditional UI automation. Does your traditional UI automation uses AI? Option number D, it doesn't capture any visual content and relies on the selectors as well. Now the topic that we have studied, now comment your answer. Do not worry if you are going wrong. Just comment your answer for question number 1 hyphen answer is, whatever is your answer is. So answer that. So let me see how many of you are able to know the answers. Now here the answer is B, okay? It captures the visual content of all elements. So the very first time when we do a CV screen scope, it will capture all the elements that is visually present, eliminating the need for the selectors. This is the appropriate answer. Now question number 2. How does computer vision address the challenge of infinite scrolling in applications? Right, for infinite scrolling. It does not address infinite scrolling at all. B, it automatically stops infinite scrolling. C, it provides runtime auto scroll using the delayed screen refresh option. Option D, it relies on traditional selectors for infinite scrolling. Now write your answer, comment it, question 2 hyphen, what is your answer? Comment it. So here the answer is option C. It provides runtime auto scrolls using delayed screen refresh option. We have studied this, okay? Let's go to question number 3. What activity does computer vision use to extract structured tables with varying layouts, structures and designs? So it is talking about structured tables with varying layouts, structures and designs. So if it is a structured table or some other layout of the table is also present, what is the activity used? Question is, what is the activity? CV find element, CV extract table, CV click text, CV screen scope. So comment your answer. Question 3 hyphen, what is your answer? Comment it. So pause the video while you are reading the question, pause the video and then you can do it. So the answer here is B, CV extract table. Let's go to question number 4. Which targeting methods does computer vision use to visually identify elements in the target application? It uses selectors, only AI and OCR, selectors, anchor-based, fuzzy selectors, image automation, AI, OCR, fuzzy text matching and new image matching algorithm. So out of this, which is the best answer? So please do comment question 4, what is your answer? All right, let me reveal the answer. The answer is D. Okay, D is the answer, AI, OCR. This also we have studied. So thank you guys for watching. Let's move on to our next topic. I feel this particular paragraph have couple of important points I'm going to cover which might appear in your exam. This is around computer vision and UI automation activities. So the question is when to apply each approach. I have prepared a small table which is going to help you to quickly remember few important points. Before that, let us go through this paragraph, and I'm going to highlight important points for you, okay, and explain you. Now look at the first sentence. The choice between UI automation and AI computer vision relies or depends on specific characteristics of the automation task and the nature of target application. So it says if you have to go for UI automation or you have to go for AI computer vision is decided from the nature of the target application, okay, or what kind of automation task you are going to perform. Where are you performing the task? That will decide whether you should go for UI automation or you should go for AI computer vision. Now here are a couple of important points. UI automation is typically preferred when dealing with applications that have structured and well-defined user interfaces. This is very, very important point. Applications where you have structured and well-defined user interfaces. That is where you should go. For example, most of our web applications are very structured. Sometimes some of the web applications where you see tables. Now the tables can have multiple layouts, right? Dynamic tables are getting formed when you click on provide some input and click. The tables will be created dynamically. So those are dynamic environments, right? So where you have very stable structured user interface, that is where you should go for UI automation. That means with standard controls, for example, the buttons, your text elements, the number of text elements, all that remains standard. That doesn't dynamically change. So that is where you mostly prefer and go for a UI automation. So when I say UI automation, you must have already used so many of them. For example, the normal click activity, type into, right? Get text, all are UI automation activities, which largely depends on the selectors of the UI element. Now, computer vision doesn't use selectors. It uses the image. Initially, we have studied that, right? So wherever there's a structured and well-defined user interface, that is where you go with UI automation. That means it has standard controls, making it suitable for automating tasks in modern web applications. Now the important point is here, where UI elements have stable selectors. So highlight this point. So we have stable selectors and accessibility properties. So what do you understand from accessibility properties? If you have gone through the selectors subject, right, on the topic. So accessibility properties like you have your AA name, title, all those things are property of an element, of a UI element. Active accessibility name, right, the name of the button, let's say submit button. So AA name is submit, right? So all those things are called accessibility properties, height, position, and all those things. So if it has got stable accessibility properties and selectors, then you go for UI automation activities. Pretty simple. Just opposite is correct with AI computer vision. So in contrast, AI computer vision excels scenarios that involve dynamic user interfaces. That means, let's say your web application is absolutely dynamic. The kind of input you provide, you submit, the table that appears is completely dynamic. The elements that appears is completely dynamic. The button is on the right and next time it might go into the left or top or bottom. So some kind of a dynamic user interface. That is where AI computer vision is quite useful. Remember this. So this is a point, dynamic user interfaces and what? Virtual environments. You must have already worked on virtual environments. Most of us might have already worked. Virtual environments like Citrix, right? VDIs. There are Microsoft Remote Desktop, RDP machines. So in that, if you are opening an application, let's say I'm on my computer and I'm opening a VDI and I'm trying to automate something inside the VDI. The application is actually running inside a virtual desktop. So that time what happens? Direct access to UI element is limited in that environment. So that is also one area where we have to go for AI computer vision. Okay, important point. It is also useful when automating tasks that require extracting text or interacting with elements based on images. Okay, this is an important point. based on images. So what is the understanding based on images means? For example, such as invoice processing or data extraction from scanned documents. Someone has given you a scanned invoice. He has taken a photo and the vendor has shared. So in those kind of a documents, which is just an image, then you also go for computer vision. Okay. In many instances, a strategic combination of UI automation and AI computer vision can offer a comprehensive solution. Now the question is, can I use both of them in my project? Yes. You can also have a combination of, because a web page have multiple stages, right? In one page, it's very stable. The other page, when you submit it, it gives you a dynamic page. So it says a strategic combination of UI automation and AI computer vision can offer a comprehensive solution. So based on the task that you're automating, application that you're automating, you can decide. So you can also use both of them in one project. Okay. All right. Now let's see. I have prepared a small table for you. This table is going to help you. Now, how do you remember UI automation means? I will use UI automation when my user interface is structured, when I have stable selectors, when I can access the properties of the UI elements, or those are known as accessibility properties. Then I should go for UI automation. I should go for computer vision when there is a dynamic user interface. All the elements are moving here and there, number of elements that is present now, after if I refresh it will change again. So in dynamic environments, computer vision is most preferred. And environment like virtual desktop interfaces, that time also where UI element accesses are limited, then you should go for computer vision. Anytime you have to deal with images like invoice documents, scanned documents, right? Scanned invoice documents. So that is where you should go for computer vision. Got it? Now let us face few questions that I prepared. So let's see those questions in the next video. Let's go through some of the questions around computer vision versus UI automation. So let's see some of the questions here. The very first question: in which situation is UI automation typically preferred over AI computer vision? When you should go for UI automation? That is the question. And here are the options. When dealing with dynamic user interfaces. B. When automating tasks in virtual environments. C. When applications have structured and well-defined user interfaces with stable selectors. Or the fourth one, when extracting text from scanned documents. I want you to pause this video and comment your answer. Simply write question 1 or Q1 answer, whatever your answer is. Okay. Doesn't matter if you're going right or wrong, please do comment, so that it becomes quite interesting to see that people are participating in the questions that I have framed. So let me reveal the answer. The answer is C. When applications have structured and well-defined user interfaces with stable selectors, we have to go for UI automation. Let's see our next question. The next question: when does AI computer vision excel over traditional UI automation? So it is saying when it excels, that means when it works, right? Options are: when automating tasks in modern web applications. Now see, when such questions are coming, you have to select the most appropriate one. Sometimes few of the options would look okay, this is also right, but the most appropriate is the one which you should select. Okay. When automating tasks in modern web applications, when UI elements have stable selectors and accessibility properties. Stable means you have to go for UI automation. This is a wrong answer, right? Okay. When dealing with dynamic user interfaces. Option D, when extracting text from structured documents. It's saying extracting text from scanned documents, not it's structured documents. So it might confuse you, some of the options, right? Now tell me when you should go for AI computer vision. Okay, pause now and comment your answer, what you thought. So let me reveal the answer. The answer is when dealing with dynamic user interfaces. Let us go through the question number 3. In what scenarios is AI computer vision useful in the automation tasks? Again, a similar question. When automating tasks in modern web applications, when UI elements have stable selectors and accessibility properties. So stable and accessibility means you have to go with UI automation, not AI computer vision, right? That is most preferred one. When automating tasks that require extracting text from a scanned documents, when automating tasks in application with structured user interfaces. So whenever this word structure comes, stable comes, you go with UI automation. Now let's pause this video, type your comment. Let's see, type your comment. All right, so let me reveal the answer. The answer is C. When automating tasks that require extracting text from scanned documents. Scanned documents are nothing but images, right? So image means computer vision. All right, let's go with question number 4. When a developer is automating a web application that has both stable UI elements and highly dynamic pages. See, it is a combination of both. Which approach should be considered? Options are A. Using UI automation exclusively for all pages. You'll be only using UI automation. Relying solely on AI computer vision for all automation tasks. Are you only use AI computer vision for entire automation? C. Combining UI automation and AI computer vision strategically. Prioritizing AI computer vision for all pages. Now tell me which is the most appropriate answer. Pause this video, start commenting. Okay, so let me reveal the answer. The answer is again combining UI automation and AI computer vision strategically. Okay, this is the answer. So thank you guys. Now let me know how many of you were able to guess the right answers. Please do comment and let me know. So thank you guys for watching. Let's meet in our next episode. Let's attempt one more questions from the professional practice test. So let's see what is there in this question. Which activities include the relative to feature indication in UiPath Computer Vision? It is asking which of these activities. So if you see, there are multiple different computer vision activities. Now it is asking you which set contains a feature known as relative to. Now, are you sure what is relative to? Do you have a knowledge? If not, don't worry. I'm going to show a demo in UiPath Studio. Then we are going to answer this question. Okay. Now let me show you the demo. Now for this, I have kept one application open on my screen. That is known as Firm Any Tailor or UI Bank. There are so many different sample applications provided by UiPath, and in one of my previous video I have provided the link to download this sample apps. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to first drag and drop the CV screen scope. Let's click on indicate on screen and let me indicate the entire application. Now if you see, the entire application UI elements has been detected. Let me drag and drop a CV click activity. Okay, and let me click on indicate on scope. Now tell me, if I'm going to click on show element, it generally tells me by the neural network server how many different elements are already detected. Let me ask you a question. If I ask you, in this application, there are still couple of elements which are not detected. Can you identify that? So if you see this particular scroll bar, do you see there's a scroll bar scale? Now this is not yet detected, right? This is not yet detected. Now what I will do for in these situations where some of the UI element are not detected, you will be using relative to feature. Very important point. Okay, when to use relative to feature? Let me also show you the documentation. Let me hit on escape and let me show you the documentation. So here is the relative to documentation for computer vision. I'm going to pass this entire URL, not to worry. Now here, if you scroll down this page, there is a line here which says unless computer vision cannot detect a certain UI element, there is no need to use the relative to feature. Very important point. Unless it is not detected, you don't have to use it. So in our case, what happened? That particular UI element is not detected. If I click on show element, you can see this one is not detected. Now in this case, I have to use a relative to feature. Okay. Now before I use, look at this relative to feature. I'm going to click on relative to, and you can see it. I have actually the scale, right? When you bring it down, the application size will become small. So here what I want to really click on this particular area. Okay, I want to click here. So I'm going to carefully keep my mouse pointer in that area. Okay. Now what happened? I would like to click on that bar. By default, what would happen if you click on the bar? If you see, if I'm going to click on this, if I click on this, it becoming small. If I click again on this, it becoming large. This is how it behaves. Now I want to click there. Okay. Now here, if you see, our indication is not actually proper. So I'll click on edit once again. It should have an anchor, right? So I'm selecting this as an anchor, this as an anchor. Now what is the meaning? For example, if I select this as an anchor, and let me remove this. So I've kept two anchors for this target, and there is another target. So what is this target? What is this target? What is this two anchors? Now this understanding is highly required. Now, for example, if I'm asking you, hey, you need to identify where Rakesh stays, and his address is there with another person. I'll tell you his name. So what you will do, you will first go to that person to ask him, hey, where Rakesh stays, then he can refer you, okay, there he is, because this guy stays near to Rakesh. So he can always refer you. Now, where this guy stays, then I will say he stays near a school whose name is so and so, and near that you will find a temple. So this becomes a address indication for this target element. So first you have to target B to identify the target A. So what would happen if I give you this indications? There is a school nearby, there is a temple nearby. So you find, okay, this must be the person whom I should first reach. So you go to this person and he will tell you the actual target. The same thing works here. When I'm giving like this two anchors, so it understands first it should identify this, and near to that there's an element I need to click there. Okay, this works. So it's known as relative to. So they are in relation, relative to. Getting it? Okay, now let me click on OK. And here, let me quickly run this. Now, if you see, the automation has run and it has actually clicked here, and after a few minutes of delay, it has automatically become small. Now, as you have understood what is this relative to feature, let us answer this question. Now here, these are the options. Now here we need to identify which activities contains the relative to feature and which do not contain. Now let me ask you, CV screen scope, does it contain? So for that, all you do, drag and drop the CV screen scope and click on indicate on scope. Now if you do this, here there is no relative to feature. So that means the answer is wrong. So wherever you find in your question CV screen scope, you should not select that because this entire option itself is wrong. Now there is a second option, CV click, CV hover, CV type into CV get text. Actually, this is the right answer. Why? Let me show you. For example, CV click activity. I'm going to drag and drop this CV click activity. Just now you saw that if you click on indicate, it has the relative to feature. Hit on escape to come out of this. Now let me drag and drop the CV hover. Now if you click on indicate this one, even this CV hover contains relative to. This is also correct. Let me hit on escape. Now let me type CV type into. Now if you click on indicate, you can see even CV type into contains relative to. So three options are correct. Now escape. Now next is CV get text. Now if you click on indicate get text, you can see even get text contains relative to feature. So this is the right answer. The right answer is this one, CV click. So click, then you type CV type, then you using the mouse, you are hovering, hover, and find getting the text. So like that you can remember these are the four activities which actually contains relative to feature. Now here you can find this documentation also. Here if you see relative to feature, CV click, CV hover, CV type into. This allows you to select the single point selection. Now using CV get text, you can select the area, larger area. So these are the four activities which contains relative to feature. Now you will say, Rakesh, what if, don't you think the drop down contains the relative to? No, it doesn't. For example, let me drag and drop, CV drop down, click on indicate. So what happens? Do you see a relative to feature? No. CV check. Does CV check contains a relative to feature? Just hit on escape. CV check. Click on indicate. You can see there is no relative to feature. So finally, this is your answer. You can make a note of this. I'm hitting on escape. So the answer is this. CV click, CV type into, like that you can remember. Click and you type and you hover the mouse and get the text. Click, type, hover, get text. These are the four things which contains the relative to. Rest of it does not contain, like check, drop down, element exists, extract table, highlight. Even highlight does not contain. Okay, so don't get confused. This is your answer. You can practically try it out. Now if you have any such questions, do ask me in the comment section of the video. I will try to clarify them. So thank you guys for watching. Let's go through some of the questions that I prepared on this particular area and check your knowledge. In this, we are going to discuss some of the questions around the relative to feature. There are a couple of important questions that may appear in the exam. I feel you should go through them. So let's see what is our first question. The first question is, when is the relative to feature useful in activities involving indicate wizard? So it is basically asking you when the relative to feature should be used. And here are your different options. Let me read the option A. When you want to replace the stable target with a dynamic one. Option B. When you want to select an area not identified by the computer vision. If the computer vision not able to identify one of the UI element, or choose a general area without specifying a UI element. Let's say you want to type something in a specific area of a notepad or a Word document, right? So is this the right answer? Option C. When you need to enhance the accuracy of the computer vision detection for a specific UI element. Should you use for this reason? D. When the stable element is unnecessary for the selection. Now tell me, out of A, B, C, D, which is the right answer? Pause the video here and start commenting your answers. So do comment, whatever you feel, start commenting your answers. It doesn't matter if you go wrong or right, doesn't matter. Start writing the answers. Okay, so let me reveal the answer. The answer is B. When you want to select an area not identified by the computer vision engine. Okay, or choose a general area without specifying you. So this is the right answer. Now, where do you find this documentation? I'm going to pass this specific link in the description of the video and go through this relative to feature. Okay, if you go through this, you would find this answer at the bottom. Look at here. So unless the computer vision cannot detect a certain UI element, if computer vision fails to detect a certain UI element in your application, right, there is no need to use the relative feature. So it's saying unless, if it is not able to detect, then you should use relative to feature. So here the right answer is B, when you want to select an area not identified by the computer vision engine. Okay, or to choose a general area without specifying a UI element. If you go through that paragraph, you will find this as your right answer. Let me go through the second question. In which activities can you use single point selection with the relative to feature? So there are two different areas. One is single point selection. The other one is area selection. Right? So in which activities can you use single point selection? Here are the options. CV type into, CV get text, CV hover, CV click, CV click, CV hover, CV type into, or the option D, CV get text, or CV click. Okay, so now looking at these options, now tell me what is your right answer. So comment your answer. So let me reveal the answer. The answer is CV click, CV hover, and CV type into. This all are single point selection. That means when you use them, when you click on the relative to, you can only click on a single point. You cannot select an area. Now, where do you find the documentation? On the same link, if I slightly scroll up. Okay, so here if you see CV click, CV over, CV type into, single point selection is normally placed. So what is single point selection? That means you can, let's say I want to click here, or I want to type from here, right? So here if it'll only give a single point selection. From there it will start working, or this is your target point. Now what is area selection? Area selection means you can select a bigger area, you can draw that rectangle. Okay, and this is only possible when you use CV get text. So let's go back to the question. So if you look at the question, it is just asking single point selection. So single point selection, CV click, CV hover, CV type into. Get text means area selection. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you got all the questions right. So please do comment and I would love to read them. So let's meet once again in our next content. So far we have seen different questions in the UiPath practice test in the previous contents, right? Right now I was thinking, what are the other questions that could appear on computer vision? So going forward, I am going to create some more videos which is going to help you to ensure that you answer all the questions that appears in computer vision. So here I present one of the topic, CV screen scope. Now here, this documentation link, I'm going to pass it in the description. You can pick it from there. Now, what are the important points I should know in this documentation? Okay, so I've highlighted few. You can go through the entire documentation, but I will go through a couple of important points. The very first important point, the computer vision screen scope activity. It initializes the UiPath computer vision neural network. Very, very important point. Okay, this activity enables you to select which OCR engine you want to use for scraping the text in the target application. This also gives you an option to select your OCR engine. For example, if I'm going to drag and drop the CV screen scope activity. Now here you can see it gives me option to select the OCR engine. Let's say I need a different OCR engine. I can pretty well do that by typing OCR and see if I have any other OCR, and I can try to replace that with this one. So I'll delete it and then let me drag and drop. So it gives you option to replace your OCR engines, but by default UiPath screen OCR engine is used, which pretty much works in most of the scenarios. Okay, so that is one thing. The other important points that you have to see is around the properties of this activity. On the right hand side, you have got so many properties. Okay, now some of the important properties I am going to go through. First important property is CV method. If you click on this, there are three options that you will get. One is none, element detection, and OCR. And here is the documentation for that. Input method, CV method, none, element, OCR. A drop-down list that specifies which detection method you want to use with this activity. By default, both the element detection and OCR option are selected. So you can see by default, these two are already selected. Now, what is the meaning of all of this? None means uses only image automation. Element detection means uses computer vision. OCR uses OCR. Okay, element detection is for computer vision. So this is what you should know. I'll frame few questions around this. We will see in the next video how to answer them. Okay, I'll come up with the questions. Now these are a couple of important points what I think. However, I would recommend you to go through the entire documentation. Now other important point is target wait for ready. Now where do you find this? Wait for ready. Target wait for ready. Now here there are three different options: none, interactive, and complete. Now what are the meanings of all of this you should know. I'll frame a question around this and I will see how many of you can answer this. Okay, now let's see the documentation. None means does not wait for anything except the target UI element. Remember, you might get confused target app and target UI element. Remember, it is talking about do not wait for anything except the target UI element, which is part of your target app. So UI element is part of your application, correct? So target UI element. So it is looking for that UI element. The moment, for example, I'm clicking on a button. Now, if the button appeared first in the web page while I'm loading, then it'll click on it. So if I'm selecting none, it'll just wait for that button, nothing else. However, this can have unwanted consequences. What? If the button relies on elements which are not yet loaded, such as scripts. If the button relies on other things, then you should not go for it. Okay. Otherwise, if it is a normal button, does not depend on any kind of script, then it should be fine. Interactive. Waits for the UI elements. Remember here, what is the difference you find? The first one saying UI element, only that one single element. Here it is saying UI elements you are working within the target app. So let's say I'm working with buttons, I'm working with few input text boxes, I'm working with few labels, I'm working with a table. So all those UI elements, it will wait for all those UI elements upon which I am working in my automation for them to load. That is where you will be selecting interactive to exist before executing the action. So before it executes, it will wait. Remember this, waits for, this word is important. Wait for anything except, wait for the UI elements. See here, S is important, okay? Elements. Complete. Waits for all the UI elements in the target app. Here, so what is the difference between interactive and complete? In interactive, it waits for UI elements you are working with. I might be working with 5 elements out of 100 elements there on the target app. So it'll just wait for those 5 elements. Now completement, it waits for all the UI elements. All those 100 UI elements should load in the web page or the target application, and then it will start working. Okay, these are important points. And also there's another point called private. Okay, for example, private. If I select private, what would happen? If selected, the values of variables and arguments are no longer logged at verbose label. So when you do a debug, right, you select verbose. So what would happen? All those values of the variables are logged. If you have gone through my log videos, you know it. So if you select private, it does not get logged. Okay. All right. And then the screen name drop down. Okay. So what is this? For example, I have indicated a screen. For example, I'm indicating this particular screen. Okay. Now post indicating, let's say I would like to change the name of it. So for example, here I'll click on it and I want to change it. So click on it once. It will allow you to, type your own name. That is the meaning here. Okay. If there are multiple screens, you can use these buttons to scroll. So this is the definition of this entire thing. Now I'm going to frame few questions and I would love to see how many of you can answer it correctly. Do comment your answers. Do not hesitate. Just comment whatever comes to your mind for the very first time. Just comment, start commenting your answers. Okay. So let's move on to our next topic and see the questions and answer them. Now let's see some of the questions on screen scope activity properties. The first question, what does the target dot wait for ready property in the CV screen scope activity control? Options are the amount of time to wait for the OCR engine to respond, the delay before the activity begins performing any operations, waiting strategy for the UI elements of the target application to become ready for executing the action. Option D, the time to wait for the target UI element to exist before executing the action. Now, these questions can be slightly confusing, but if you know target dot wait for ready, what it does, you'll be able to answer this question. Now pause this video and comment your answer. So let me reveal the answer. The answer is the waiting strategy for the UI elements of the target application. It waits for the UI elements, right? Wait, target, wait for ready. Now here, let me show you the documentation. Target wait for ready has got three different options: none, interactive, and complete. None means does not wait for anything except the target UI element. Interactive means waits for the UI elements you are working with the target app. Complete means waits for all the UI elements. So here the most appropriate answer would be the waiting strategy for the UI elements of the target application. So it is waiting for the UI elements. It doesn't talk about time, the time to wait. It doesn't, you don't specify a time, right? The amount of time. It's not about delay before. So the best answer is C. All right. Now let's see the second question. Within the CV screen scope activity, how does the element detection option in the CV method property contribute to computer vision task? So it is talking about element detection. Now the question comes where this element detection comes in the CV screen scope activity. So on my screen, this is the CV screen scope activity. And here if you go to the CV method property, there is an option here called element detection and OCR. So this question is around this. Now let me read the options for you. For task centered around image automation, is it talking about image automation when the primary objective involves OCR on the target application? Specifically when opting for the UiPath screen OCR engine, or as part of a comprehensive approach utilizing computer vision for element detection. So what is this element detection? I think the answer is there in the word itself. Now let me show you the documentation before you answer. The documentation is here. I'm going to pass this link. So if you see, there are three options. None means uses only image automation. Remember this, very important. Element detection uses computer vision. OCR uses optical character recognition. So these are the three different options given, and this question is framed on that. So the right answer for this is as part of comprehensive approach utilizing computer vision for element detection. This is the answer. Now let's see the third question. What is the purpose of private property in the computer vision screen scope activity? So it is asking in the computer vision screen scope activity, what is the use of this private property? Do you see this private property? If I check this, what would happen? If I uncheck this, what would happen? So what is the use of private property? That is the question. Now here are the options for you. It ensures that the analysis is kept private and not logged. It restricts access to the OCR results. It prevents the OCR engine from interacting with private information. It has no impact on the privacy of the OCR. So what is the right answer that you think? Comment your answer in the comment section. Now let me reveal the answer. The answer for this one is it ensures the analysis is kept private and not logged. So when you go for a verbose mode, it doesn't log it, right? So the definition that you would find is here. When you go for private, if selected, the values of the variables and arguments are no longer logged at verbose level. So this is the right definition. Getting it? So thank you guys for watching. Let's move on to our next topic. I'm going to show you a very important feature around computer vision check activity and one of the property called action property. And based on that, this question is framed. This becomes very important from the exam preparation point of view. First of all, we will go through this question and then we will do a practical to understand this question and identify the right answer. So let's begin. Let's carefully read this question. In a desktop application using computer vision, there is a requirement to ensure the enable additional icon checkbox is selected at the start of each execution. It is telling me anytime you are running a project or a process or the workflow, every time the project executes, it should first check if this option enable additional icon. This should always remain checked. Now here there is a condition. If the checkbox is unchecked, let's say initially it is unchecked, then the workflow needs to check it. Then you should check it. But if it is already checked, so if it is already checked, no action should be taken. So this must be understood. In the application, if it is already checked, you should not take any action. If it is not checked, then you should check it. Okay. Which option should the developer configure in the CV check activity action property? Now, have you seen this action property for this scenario? Okay. Now, what is this action property? What are these things will do? We will see it practically and then finally answer this question. All right. For this, first of all, I have opened my UiPath Studio, and in the background, I have opened this desktop application. The very first thing, let me drag and drop the CV screen scope activity. And here I'm going to click on indicate on screen, and I'm going to indicate the entire application. Now, once this is done, inside this, let me drag and drop the CV check activity. Click on indicate on scope, and I'm going to select this checkbox. Ensure your mouse pointer is exactly there on the checkbox, or else you can see it is not highlighting. So I'm keeping on top of the checkbox, and I'm going to click. The moment it clicks, it understands where is the target. The green one is the target and the blue one is the anchor. Understood. Now on the property, if you see, there is a property called action property. The question is exactly asking around this. Now out of this three options, which one should you select? Which should meet the condition? If it is checked, it should not check it again or uncheck it. If it is unchecked, it should automatically check it. So let me show you. If I go for this check option, what happens? Okay, so here I have selected check option, and the cursor motion type, this is not mandatory, this is optional. Here I am keeping it as smooth in for this application so that we can see the mouse movement while it is performing the action. Okay, so here I've selected smooth, and the important property called action property, here I've selected check. All set. Now I'm going to debug this. Okay, now it should work on the application. Now you can see the mouse pointer should move there and it has checked. Did you see? If I open the application, it has checked it. Now what would happen? Let's say if I run it. Now in this condition, it is already checked. If I run it again, is it going to uncheck or it's not going to perform any action? Let me show you. Now let me run it again. Now you can see it is already checked. Now what happened? It did not perform any action. Did you see the mouse did not move at all, right? For example, if I run it again, see, it is not performing any action. Now, if I go back to the question, it is very clear and very evident, even though I'm using the check property, if it is checked, it is not performing any action. If it is unchecked, then it is performing action. So here, to meet this condition, which option shall I select? Which is the right answer? I think all of you got the answer. The answer is A, check. I should go for the option check. Now, as we already got the answer, let us also experiment other two options. Let me click on uncheck and debug. This time it should go and uncheck. You can see it has unchecked it. Clear? Now if I hit on toggle, toggle is just that if it is checked, it will uncheck. It is unchecked, it is going to check it. That is the meaning of toggle. Now if I run it, now you can see the mouse pointer has gone and checked it because it was unchecked. So now you got the entire answer. Now let me show you the documentation around CV check. This link I'm going to pass it in the description of the video. You can pick it from there. Now if you scroll down, here is the action property. Specifies the exact action that you want to perform. Now what are the exact actions? The following actions are available: check, uncheck, toggle. Check means it will select a checkbox, right? And if it's already checked, it doesn't do anything. Uncheck means clear a checkbox. Toggle means switches the value of the checkbox. Pretty simple. Okay, so first it determines what is the current value of the checkbox, whether it is checked or not, then it takes action. So here if you saw that when I go for check, it first checks. Okay, it is already checked. I should not perform this action, and it doesn't do any action. Okay. The changes are done based on the results on the screen scan. In order to ensure the accuracy of the action, a refresh might be required before using the CV check activity. If your CV check activity fails, then do a CV screen refresh. Okay. Alright guys, so that is very important area that we have covered. Thank you for watching, and write some comments in the description of the video, in the comment section of the video, and we are going to see some more questions around this in the next video. Let's go through some of the questions around the CV check property. Now let's see the very first question. This question we have already seen in my previous video where I have explained practically. However, I will just read this and see the answer. In a desktop application using computer vision, there is a requirement to ensure the enable additional icon checkbox is selected. Here is that at the start of each execution. If the checkbox is unchecked, the workflow needs to check it. But if it is already checked, no action should be taken. Which option should the developer configure in the CV check activities action property for this scenario? Now this one I have practically shown which should be the right answer, but you must be knowing it. So go ahead and comment the right answer for question 1. What is your answer? Pause it and comment your answer. Let me reveal the right answer is A, check. Let me move on to question number 2. In UiPath Computer Vision, when using the CV activities, what does the cursor motion type property control? Cursor motion type. And why might the smooth option be preferable for the certain elements? Okay, why should you go for smooth option? Option A, it determines the speed of mouse movement. B, it specifies the cursor appearance, and smooth is suitable for improving visibility. Are you doing it for visibility? Option C, the smooth option is suitable for elements that respond to interaction only when the mouse smoothly enters this area. Option D, it manages the duration of mouse clicks, and smooth is recommended for situation involving multiple clicks. Are you going to use it for multiple clicks? Now pause the video, select your right answer. Let me reveal the right answer for this is option number C. This smooth option is suitable for elements that respond to interaction only when the mouse smoothly enters their area. Now here I am on the CV check documentation. Now if I scroll down, here under the cursor motion type, if you see, this option is suitable for elements that respond to interaction only when mouse smoothly enters the area. Okay, so this is the right answer. So I'm going to highlight. So now you can justify why C is the right answer. Thank you guys for watching. Please do keep commenting the answers to the questions. Even though you're going wrong or right, doesn't matter. Keep interacting with my contents by commenting on them.